All right, guys. Hope everybody's having a great start to their Memorial Day weekend. I just want to do a quick project update. First, in the last video, somebody asked me about the line lock setup, and it's the real basic set. It's your Hurst roll control. I think I got it off LMR, and then here is the installation kit that you want. As you see, I used a few of the lines, a few of the fittings. It's got all the right ones you need for a Fox body, and all you're really doing is you're coming off the larger your larger reservoir. Okay, you're coming off that, and then you're locking from there. You're interrupting that from there to your proportioning valve. Okay, so then you're just locking up the front brakes. From there, you just got power, you got your ground, and then when I went to manual brakes, you have to change up a brake light switch. So you got to get this is a pressure brake light switch. So as soon as it seems so you touch on the brakes, so that is not necessary. I only did that when I went to manual brakes, because when you change the pivot point for manual brakes on your brake pedal, you lose the brake light switch on the pedal. So you have to go to one of these pressure activated switches, and the roll control has a port for it. So you just wire that in. So other than that, that's all stock with this Hurst installation kit. It's got all the fittings. I didn't have to buy anything else. I just used a couple of lines in there, bend them up yourself, and positive ground. And then again, if you have manual brakes and you change the pivot point on your brake pedal, you will need to switch to this pressure activated switch. And I have had zero issues with the Hurst product. So the only thing I did do differently, it comes with a little micro switch that a lot of people put on their stick shift. That didn't work too well for me. It did work, but just what I like better is, so I have a light, so I know it's on, but I just throw the switch on, pump the brakes a couple times, throw the switch on, put the car in second gear, dump the clutch, and then when I want to roll out, I just turn the switch off, and you're good to go. That's the only thing I did different besides the pressure switch. So the progress we're making on this carb swap, I try to come out and do one or two little things while he's still working on balancing my stuff. I guess there's a Pontiac in front of mine that's giving him troubles on the balancing machine, and he doesn't want to take it off because it's a difficult one that's going to take, it's kind of a one-off thing. So anyway, as soon as he's done doing this Pontiac balance job, then my parts can go on there and get balanced. But nonetheless, I did, so I swapped over all the parts I needed off of the Trick Flow Box R, with the exception of the coolant temp switch. I do have the temperature sender, and then of course I pulled over my water neck, and I'm running just a restrictor plate in there, not a thermostat, because we have an electric pump. I didn't want to deadhead into a thermostat that wasn't open. And then I had these core plugs ready, so that was good to go. There's nothing that goes in the back here, and there's no PCV on this. If I want to run PCV, it'll have to come off the valve cover, but I don't think I am. So that much is done. The fuel pressure regulator from the last time, I had it mounted here, and that is incorrect. NHRA does not want any fuel items on the firewall. In case you have a flywheel or flex plate explosion, they don't want anything flying up and cutting a fuel line. So I moved it to the back of the strut tower, so that will pass. And then we've got our new multi-spark, the Pertronix coil mounted over here. And then I moved the overflow can over here, and I will just run the hose right down on the bottom of the radiator support up to this side. So that worked out good. And then I'd been struggling to find a spot to put the ignition box. That is the Pertronix box. I took the sticker off because it was upside down, but if you're kind of wondering why I mounted it sideways like that, it was, for one, it kind of matches that contour. For two, I needed access to the controls. If I want to change my launch, my 2-step RPM, I want to be able to get at it. And three, then it gives a nice clean spot for the wires to stay out of the way. So I kind of like that, and I'm thinking I may paint this box white just so it blends in. I'll tape up the ends, of course, but I'm thinking I may go ahead and just paint this white. So we'll see. So on top of that, when we got started with wiring, as you guys recall a couple videos back, I had installed a 4-post cutoff switch, and on a 2-post, the alternator had to run back here to the battery, and then you're on the other side of the cutoff switch here. So what I didn't like about that was even if the battery's disconnected, the alternator was still hot. So to alleviate that, and as you see, I'm at the tail end of pulling. This was the wire that ran all the way up to the alternator. So I just got to cut a couple more zip ties back here and pull that out. So in lieu of that, the beauty of this 4-post switch that passes tech inspection is when you're using the aftermarket ignition. So this is the power wire for the Pertronics box. So when you shut that off, it shuts the power off to all the ignition, and you don't have to have the alternator running all the way to the back here. So I did that today, and I've just got the back panel off to test it, and it's working. So now I only have to run, these this is like 10 gauge wire to the back. And of course, any type of ignition box, they want you to run it directly to the battery. So that's what we have here and here, except for the positive is on the small posts and the battery is on the large posts. So I've tested it, and it turns on and off just like the battery turns on and off. So that will pass tech inspection, and then the alternator wire will just go back to the stock location. It'll just run over to the solenoid. I don't have to run a wire all the way to the back, so that'll probably save a little weight. I got to take the seat out. The next step is taking the seat out to work on the fuel pump wiring, because the fuel pump relay's under there. And then when I get the seat out, I'll be able to disconnect the old EFI fuel cable or throttle body cable, and I can go ahead and install our 85 Mustang carbureted style. I did take this apart and mod it a little bit. The spring was really tight on this, so I cut some of the coils off of it, and the reason being is you have 2 return springs on here already. So I got that. I did get this is the Ford style, and you have to buy separately for your bracket, so that's there. I've already gone ahead and I file fit all the new piston rings. I got the same rings I had last time. I've already file fit them, so I did that one morning this week. So I took care of that. So that's done, and they're all ready to go over here. So I've just been cleaning parts. I vacuum tested. I vacuum tested all the ports on the trick flow this morning with my homemade vacuum test until my air compressor broke. So I got to fix this. But I did get everything tested, and all the intakes sealed up very good. If you know anything about emission legal Ford heads, you'll know that on the exhaust side they have what are the thermactor ports. You see that? So that when you try to put a vacuum on there, it's sucking air through all these small little ones. That's what the tape is for. I was trying to block them off, and I don't think I was getting real accurate results on the exhaust. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just relap the exhaust valves just to be safe. But all the exhaust sealed up, and I would show you the vacuum test, but that hose popped off on the dang compressor tank, so I got to fix that. Yeah, that just happened this morning, so I have to go figure that out. So anyway, I can go ahead and I'll be putting the back end back together here. The console is only out because of the transmission, having to mess with that. So other than that, went ahead and my harness was all hacked up, so I went ahead and took the plug here to go ahead and run the wires for the coolant and oil pressure sensors. So I'll wrap these up, make a nice little loom for those two, and then I still have these guys here. One might be for the tach. I've got to figure out the rest of these. One might be a 12-volt switched. This one's heavier than the rest, so that may be my source for 12-volt switched. And the tach, and then everything else should be working good. I found this diagram online, but this doesn't seem like it worked. This is probably not for an 86. The plug is the same, but what they're saying, so they have engine temp, tach, oil pressure, ECC relay power, and plus 12 volt. So I should have all those things, and of course that's a brown connector. That's not brown on an 86. So I'll have to figure out the layout for the 86, but I traced these back from the original harness, so I know these are correct. I traced this back to the salt and pepper shaker and cut it, and then cut the other side. Took them all out of the loom. So worst comes to worst, if I don't like the way this turns out, at least I know how long the wires have to be, and I can just reuse these ends. So anyway, so that part of the wiring's done. I do have a as far as the distributor, I'm going to go with an 85 Mustang, a Duraspark, and this will be the trigger wire off of the Pertronics box right here. Just like an MSD, it's a magnetic pickup distributor, just like an MSD. MSD makes the adapter to go from this to the stock Duraspark. So I ordered the distributor and the adapter today. So that much is done. I do have the wiring over here. I ran out of wire and butt connectors and stuff to finish installing the digital box. I do got to run the two wires around to the coil, and then of course I got to wire up the two-step wires that'll go inside the car, and I got to figure out, of course, I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of switch is going to work when I get to the bell housing. I don't want to do it on a button, and I'm not sure if there's a good switch off of the clutch pedal, so I may have to do something off of the clutch fork. I'm not sure yet, so we'll figure that out when we get there. Worst comes to worst, I don't know. I don't have a two-step. I'll have to live with it for a while. I just want to get it back up and running. So that's the update. I've been making progress. Been trying to come out and do like one or two things, clean stuff. As you see, I took my TV down so I could use the parts washer. So I've been out here working. I got all this stuff cleaned out. I took the oil pump apart to clean it, of course, and it looks like there was some trash that went through it. So I am buying a new melling. I'm actually I think I made a mistake with running this stock pump, even though I opened up the oil galleys and stuff on it, but trying to go to 7,000 RPM, I should be at 70 pounds of oil pressure, and I don't think I was that high, but it looks like a little trash went through here. You can see it on the gears. You can see. So I'm not going to reuse that. I mean, it'd probably be fine for a stock rebuild, but I went with the Melling Select high volume, high pressure, just to be on the safe side. And I will let I'll let the machinist know when he's set the bearing clearances of what pump we're running, so he can set the bearing clearances accordingly. But that's what I found when I took that apart. I didn't find there wasn't any actually physical trash in it, but there was, obviously you could see what the scoring marks on there. So getting rid of that, may keep it for a backup, or if somebody needs it for a stock rebuild or what have you. But Milling does sell the a repair kit for those, the new gears on the side and the cover plate. And I looked it up, and it's like $51 for the repair kit. The brand new pump is only 46. So that plan went out the window, because I was gonna maybe just get the high pressure version of that and then port the inside out a little bit. But I'm just going to get the race version, because I guess it's a stronger body and everything too. So it's only like $30 more for the race version. So I'm going with that one. The Melling, I think it's called the Melling Select, and they got a high pressure standard volume and a high pressure high volume. And I went the high pressure and the high volume just to be on the safe side. I think this was some kind of oiling issue, or I don't know. But when I checked the logbook, I wasn't over 7,000 RPMs on the pass that whole day when it did, mess up that bearing. So I looked at the logs. It was like I was shifting at like 6,700. So I wasn't over revving it, but still, I really didn't keep in mind. I wanted to be close to 7,000 RPMs. I should have 70 pounds of oil pressure, and maybe this standard volume one just couldn't keep up with that. So nonetheless, that's where I'm at, and I was just going to show you guys how this 4-post works. So I've got my ground here. The switch is off, so we've got 12 volts at the battery, and then here on the switch, we've got 0. And we turn it on. Dome lights on. And now on this cutoff switch here, boom, off. So that'll shut our ignition box off and shut the car down without having to run the alternator wire all the way to the back. So that is some pretty good progress for today. I'm probably going to go ahead and put this back panel back on, clean this up a little bit back here, and we're having family over for barbecue tomorrow. So got to get the house cleaned up, got to get the pool ready. We're watching we got a couple extra dogs over here, so we got 4 dogs running around. Had to go get propane for the grill. It's just, I'm not going to cut the grass, but that'll wait till later. Anyway, guys, hope everybody has a great Memorial Day weekend. And for the gentleman that was asking about the Holley line lock, I hope that answered your questions. If you have any more, just leave a comment. I'll see if I can help, but I'm not really any kind of expert. This is the first one I've ever installed, and it works fine for me. So, all right, guys, hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you.